2026. And BTS is back, baby.
It's official. BTS is back.
BTS officially back together after they went on hiatus in 2022.
Get ready because BTS is back. The K-pop phenomenon announcing their comeback tour and new music after a 4-year hiatus.
Back, baby. BTS is back. BTS is back with their brand new album, Arirang, touring worldwide right now. And this low-key got me thinking. We all have our favorite moments, favorite eras, you know? And regardless, if you are an ARMY who started standing BTS back in 2013, if you started standing in 2017, hell, if you even started standing in 2026, ARMY is ARMY. It does not matter. And that low-key had me thinking, what BTS member has dominated what era in my keyword? My opinion. Hi, my name is Arirang. For y'all who don't know me, you're gonna get to know me now, and I hope you enjoy the person that I am. I make videos about K-pop, anime, beauty, lifestyle, video, whatever's on my mind. Mostly K-pop and anime. Those are my biggest niches right there. And I hope you stick around. Hope you enjoy. Hope you like the video. If you do, make sure to give it a like, thumbs up the video, hit that subscribe button, and stick around. Now let's get into the video. I don't like long introductions at all. Let's go. BTS debuted June 13th, 2013 under Big Hit Entertainment with the following members. Now, keep in mind, I'm not creating so if I butcher anyone's name, forgive me. We have Kim Seokjin, Min Yoongi, Suga, Jung Ho-seok, J-Hope, Kim Namjoon, who we now know as RM, who originally debuted under the name Rap Monster. But you know, he changed his name to RM, so we're gonna call him RM. Park Jimin, Kim Taehyung, which we call V, and Jung Jungkook. Now, coming out of the gates, BTS debuted with a very hip-hop, very urban sound. Like, if you were there when BTS originally debuted, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you go back and watch old BTS, if you have not, they had a very hip-hop, very aggressive, pretty, sounding tone. Now, their debut song, No More Dream, highlighted things like pressure from society, pressure about school. Very, very 2013. Now, during this time of BTS, they were wearing a lot of dark clothes. It was a lot of heavy gold chain. Very, very like Southern hip hop influence, okay? Very gold, very black, very flashy clothing. They had a very hip hop-esque group. Very hip hop down to the T, okay? Now, for the sake of this video, I will be using the term album. If you don't think that it's an album, that's cool, that's fine. This is my video, this is how I interpret things. That is so fine. So we're gonna start off with album number 1, Too Cool for School, released in 2013. The name itself is very 2013 coded. And you know that Too Cool for School, it was numbers and school was spelled with a K. Very, very 2013 coded. Now, this album released tracks such as No More Dream, we got We're Bulletproof Part 2, and we also got one of my favorite songs, the gorgeous, gorgeous ballad, Like. I love that song so deeply. Now, looking at concept photos of BTS at this time, I really had to break it down and say, okay, who's selling this? Who is selling this? Now, just to give you guys an insight about what are the premises about who owns the concepts, to me, it's pretty much based on who I think shined the most in this era, who I think fit the concept the most, different little things, ins and outs that, kind of break it down for me. Now, for this era of Too Cool for School, I gotta give it to Suga. He was selling this concept so much. Like, that one photo of him with that Supreme skateboard. Yeah. When you look at the group concept photos, like, I'm just like, yeah. He was doing it and he was selling it for me. Now, I know we don't say this word no more, and I'll probably cringe saying it myself. But if I had to say and just define swag, I would give it to Sugar. He was definitely he was 2013 swagged out. Like, he was selling it for me. Very, very good. Now, honorable mention, because there will be honorable mentions, because, you know, sometimes there are more than one person who owns an era. It's bound to happen. Honorable mention for this era here, I would have to give it to J-Hope, because he was really, really selling it. In my opinion, Rapline was definitely selling that look, this era. This definitely was them. Okay, now let's move on to the next era. Now, the next era of BTS followed, you know, themes of rebellion, pressure that teens felt on, you know, based what society was putting on them. We have high expectations, education, things like this. The next album that we're going to get into is, Oh, Are You Late Too? And you know what's so crazy? I know I'm so dumb for this. I never knew that's what the album was called, because in my head, I just never called it anything. I just seen it and I was like, that album. But yes, Oh, Are You Late Too? This album featured hits like No, we got Attack of Bangtan, we got the initiation of the BTS ciphers. This is when we get our first cipher out of 4, okay? Now, this era here, it was so hard to kind of decide and decipher who owned this era, because realistically, everybody just looks so unserious to me. Like, I sat here for like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, I have to pick somebody. But listen, everybody during this era was just, whew. It was a lot. This era was a lot. They got them there all white like they're godly. We got gold chains. They got Jungkook with a necklace with a dollar sign on it that was long as hell. The necklace was long as hell. Like, this was like the inverse of No More Dream. All the dark clothing, and they switched to just all white. This era was a lot, okay? Now, realistically, I just genuinely cannot give this era to no one. I'm going to let the audience decide on this. Because everybody just looks so unserious. Like, Taeyong, V definitely looks so unserious. Like, this is an era of BTS that I crumbled up and just placed in the back of my mind. So with that being said, we are just going to move on to the next era, okay? We got to keep it rolling. To the next. Now, the next release that we're going to be talking about will be Skool Love Affair. This is one of my personal favorite releases, albums here. We got the classic hits like Boy in Love. We got Just One Day. Also featured Cypher Part 2, one of my favorite ciphers. And we also got 2 of my favorite songs, Spine Breaker and Jump. Like, those are my songs. Okay, I love Spine Breaker and Jump. Those are my songs. Now, this era of BTS was very schoolboy hip hop rebellion. Like, when I think of this era and who I'm really like thinking on who sold this era for me, who owned this era, I had to give it to nobody other than V. Like, this was his era. When I watched Boy in Love music video, I'm like, oh yes, he is selling the bad boy, school, rebellious, like the concept photos, chef's kiss. Everyone was really seeing this era, to be honest. Now, an honorable mention, I would say, for this era, and who really shined to me as well, was Jin. Like, Jin was given like the trio MC love triangle to the bad rebellious boy, but like, he's no good as well, but he's also very kind, very sweet. Like, Jin was giving like the opposite of the love interest of Taeyong. Like, listen, I had a whole fan fiction written up here in my head, and I'm like, we got V, we got Jin, we got MC. Like, you see where this is going? I had a plot written when I watched this video again, and I re-looked over concepts, and I'm like, oh yeah, Yeah, they were selling it in this era for me, okay? I think this was a good era for the both of them. Like, chef kiss. Like, the concept photos, gorge. Now, let's move on into our next release, okay? Because we got a few to get through, so hang in there. Let us go. Now, a year and 14 cents later, we got a more darker version of BTS, right? We got Dark and Wild, a fan favorite, a hood classic, okay? Now, Dark and Wild was very hip hop, very R&B, very smooth. Like, it was a darker, mature BTS, you know? We're gonna get into some more darker, mature BTS, but this was like an introduction to that darker, mature BTS. Now, we got some hit songs like Danger, we got 24/7, Equal Heaven, and we also got Cypher Part 3, okay? We're getting the ciphers in these albums. This is the median of, like, you know, when the ciphers are coming in and when the ciphers are about to start coming out. And on top of that too, we got one of my favorite songs, War of Hormone. I don't care what the lyrics say, okay? When I hear that, hello, tell me what you want right now. Like, yes, tell me what you want right now. Like, this is my jam. Like, everybody clear the dance floor, War of Hormone. Come on, that's my song. That's Spine Breaker. Okay, yes. Now, when it comes to who owned this era and who I'm thinking like, oh yeah, this is your time to shine. Y'all, I gotta give it to Jin. Like, the black tea, Jin was eating in this era, okay? Jin was serving. Jin is such like a soft serve. Like, he just know how to serve, okay? Jin don't miss. That is something I will say. Jin do not miss. If you think Jin miss, you ain't looking right. You not doing something right. You're not thinking right. Jin don't miss. Now, honorable mention, I will have to give this to V. World Hormone video. I would never forget. I had a lock screen of V on my phone for months when I first got into BTS. It's this one specific photo, and I'll put it up. It's when he had that lollipop and he was in that gas station or something. Phew. That is when I knew from a very young age who I was, okay? Now, let's move on to the next release, okay? Because we got a few more to get through. You made it this far, you might as well keep on going. Let's go. Wait, real quick, before we move on, let me throw in a quick honorable mention. Shout out to Jungkook and his Freddy Krueger shirt because he was low-key eating in the air too, okay? Jungkook, if you see this, text me. Wait, Jimin, if you see this, text me too. And TNG. Everybody in BTS, let's make a group. Let's make a group chat. Let's do that, okay? Shh. Y'all hear that? Now, the next release was more so an emotional kind of turning point for BTS. This is when, like, they transition from, like, their hip-hop, very, you know, hip-hop kind of urban-ish sound, and they transformed into something more like emotional, a little bit more upbeat. And this is when we get introduced to one of my favorite trilogies, the most beautiful moment in life, starting with Part 1, released in April of 2015. Now, the most beautiful moment in life, Part 1, featured tracks such as Dope, we got Boys with Fun, and we got the melodic hit, the global phenomenon, I Need You. Bring back yearning, okay? Bring back men who yearn. Ugh. And we also got Converse High. If you know, you know. Now, for scientific reasons, if I didn't give this position to who I did, I fear people would have jumped me. Because, like I said, we got Dope in this trilogy, this Part 1 of the trilogy. So you know I have to give it to red-haired Jimin. If you know, you know. Red-haired Jimin birthed new literature. I'm not gonna go in depth, but if you know, you know. These redhead pictures of Jimin have literally became a staple in the Army community. If you see this one picture of alone of Jimin, you'll be like, oh, I know that picture from, okay? If you know, you know. And let me just say, I know. So yes, I gotta give that redhead Jimin. Like, he was eating. We gotta throw tens. I had to throw my tens across the board. Hello? Those, okay. I think realistically, those are some of my favorite concept photos I have seen alone. Those are my favorite. Redhead Jimin was a moment. Redhead Jimin is the moment. I love that for him. It was just something about Jimin with a 9 to 5. He had that 9 to 5 look that, whew, if you know, you know. I might gotta crack open some ancient texts after this video. Just know that. Now, my honorable mention, it was so hard to decide because, like I say, during this time, a lot of them, everybody was chewing, okay? It was hard to see who can be an honorable mention because everybody looked so good. This was dope, and dope had some of my favorite looks from BTS. I think I really had to narrow it down and give it to either the way my camera literally overheated, so I had to wait for it to cool down so I could finish shooting. So sorry about that. It cut off so abruptly. Anyways, honorable mention for that era there. It was so hard to pick, but I would have to give it to Dr. Jin and iconic policeman Jungkook. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say, because I can't stay on this too long. I will yap and yap and yap. So let's move on to the next era. 7 months later, the most beautiful moment in life, part 2. So just like the first part of the most beautiful moment in life, the most beautiful moment in life, part 2, featured hit songs like Run, a global phenomenon. Again, we got songs like My City, Autumn Leaves, we got Butterfly, and my personal favorite, Silver Spoon / Popsay. Not the Flex Smith video. I did hear that live in Tampa Day 3. Okay. So yes, I get to say I heard Popsay live. Love that for me. So when it came to who owned this era, in my opinion, it was another challenging one. However, I gotta give this to another OG, just like Redhead Jimin dominated his era. I gotta give this to Mingyu. And that is another hood classic staple look. Okay, that look was everything. And I feel like I would feel so out of place, and I would feel so I feel like I would betray him if I did not give him that top position of owning this concept. Now, for an honorable mention, I gotta give it to the man himself. All right, okay? It's given now gender reveal because he had mint hair, and then Namjoon had, I'm saying Namjoon like I don't know on a personal level. Namjoon, if you ever see this video, please don't cuss me out. Please don't cuss me out. I don't know why I call everybody by their name and not a nickname. I know. I'm not personal with y'all. I know. But I gotta give it to RM for honorable mention because the pink hair was everything, okay? Now that I think about it, I just did pink and blue, so it's low-key giving gender reveal, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. They ate that era up. Ate it up with the 10s. Now, let's finish out the trilogy with the most beautiful moment in life, number 3, which is not even called that, but let's get into it. Now, to end the trilogy of the most beautiful moment in life, it was the most beautiful moment in life, Young Forever. Now, this was released in 2016, and this version here came out with 2 of the most fire, literally, tracks. We got Save Me, we got Fire, and of course, I already knew who I was gonna give this to. I didn't have to think. I had to give it to Jin, okay? Jin had a 613, a pink polo, and he said, you know what? I want to make history, and I respect that. Jin ate that era up with a 613 and a pink polo collar shirt. Okay, who else would I have given it to? Who else? Now, honorable mention, this one was so hard to do because realistically, I think this was another good era of everyone in BTS. Like, everybody was serving looks. Everybody looked amazing. Everybody was like chef's kiss, beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, but this is one of the rare ones here again where I'll have to say everybody ate it up in this era. So there's a real honorable mention. So with that being said, let's move on to the next series, okay? Now, this is a hood classic in the ARMY world. We gotta talk about the one and only Wings. Like, hello, that album alone changed lives, okay? The day this album dropped, I'm pretty sure the world stood still. We said, carry on, okay? The world stood still when Wings dropped. Now, Wings was a very mature, a very artistic BTS. It was very cinematic, very grown, very youthful still, but it was just a different era of BTS in a way where I was like, oh my, they are growing. They are growing up on me. I say as they're already older than me. But that's besides the point. This was the very artistic, very cinematic era of BTS, and I loved it so much. Now, Wings gave us a global phenomenon, like Blood, Sweat, and Tears, one of my favorite tracks personally. And it also gave us some good solo projects. We got Boy Meets Evil, Live, we got Stigma. And this is also the album that concluded the BTS Cypher. So Cypher Part 4 is also on this album here. And we also got the legendary outro, Wings. Everybody clap. Everybody clap. This album deserves to be in a museum, okay? We got some good stuff on this album. Now, when it came to who owned the concepts, who owned this era, it was extremely hard. However, when I close my eyes and I just think of this era, only one person really comes to mind. And that person is Jimin himself. I feel like I would do him a disservice and dishonor if I did not give Jimin the Concept King Award for this era, okay? When I close my eyes, I specifically think of Jimin in Blood, Sweat, and Tears in that one scene where he's singing the chorus part and he's like, flings body, his jacket, like blazer falls off a little bit. And he's like, and it comes back on. He's like, yes, like Jimin changed lives when he got that silver gray hair side part. Nasty, like, Jimin. This is one of my favorite eras of Jimin. He looks so good, so beautiful, so radiant, lovely. Now, when it came to honorable mention, I had to give it to Namjoon, okay? Namjoon, please don't beat me up. I know I keep calling you Namjoon, but I never call you RM because, like, I don't know. Sorry. But I have to give it to him. He was eating in this era too. Everyone was eating once again, but I feel like he's really stood out to me in this era. So let's give him his 10s, okay? Now let's move on to another series, okay? Let's get into it. Now, fast forward a little bit. We're in 2017, and we are now talking about the album with the iconic bench cover, okay? The cover of the album is so iconic that has turned to a tourist attraction where people go, sit, pose, take pictures because BTS has literally changed the way that people see a park bench. Their influence, okay? Now, we're talking about the one, the only, You Never Walk Alone, okay? This album was very unique. It's about loss, loneliness, comfort, friendship, longing. It was a very nice album to me. Like, I remember this album came out and I was like, wow, like it really hit deep in my heart, okay? It was very unique, very different. It had a nice message of like, when you're lonely, you're upset, suffering, anything like that, you don't have to walk alone. Like, what a message, okay? Now, this album featured big hits like Spring Day, one of my personal favorites. Again, we got Not Today, and it also, of course, features some songs from Wings, because that's a thing that commonly occurs in some BTS albums, especially like trilogy series, where, you know, some songs will be repetitive from previous albums within its series quite often, okay? Now, when I had to think of who owned this concept here, I had to take a few things into account and be like, okay, who I really think was doing their 1-2 in this era. And I have to literally give it to V, okay? When I think of Not Today, I think V. So I had to give it to him. Now this here, I gave to V for Not Today. Now, however, if I am thinking of Spring Day, I have to give it to Jin or Jin. Very tied, very conflicted. This era was like a big loop for me. So like my brain was kind of all over the place. Now, I didn't do any honorable mentions here because, you know, like I said, I was very V, Jim, and Jin. Like, this is a triangle right here, okay? Everybody did amazing. Everybody was great in this era, but those three were for the era. So no main honorable mention this time. Now, let's move on to another trilogy, one of my personal favorites, and also a very confusing one for me as well. So bear with me. And if you've made it this far, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you more than words can imagine. Okay, so let's get into the Love Yourself series. It is September of 2017. And to kick off the Love Yourself trilogy, we are starting with the one, the only Love Yourself, Her. Okay, now this era of BTS was very different. It's very vibrant. It's very colorful. It's very, very visually pleasing in my opinion. Like the colors were so radiant. The vibes were very high, very energetic. I really, really, really love this era. I think personally, this is another era where I think each member definitely stood out. Each member had their very own unique way of standing out, where I think everyone looked so good in uniform and also individually as well. Now, during this album here, we got Youthfulness, we got Radiance, we got Bright. Now, this album featured iconic songs such as Dimple and Piper. Two hood classics, okay? Now, we also got some more big solo hits like Serendipity, which was also one of my first BTS solo songs that I like really hardcore started like ooh, that was like one of my like, oh, this is my song was Serendipity for me. Now, we also got Mic Drop and Go Go, but we'll revisit these two later. I'll explain in those parts then, there, and why. Now, we also got the big global hit phenomenon, DNA. Wait, let me try it again. He said, what? DNA, la, 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 la. Yeah. I'm ready to debut BTS. BTS, call me if you ever need me to cover DNA for anybody who's sick that one day. I got you. Trust me. Now, it was also kind of hard for me to pick, like, who owned this era, because like I said earlier, everybody was serving, everyone was giving icon, everyone was the moment. So when it came to being like, okay, who really stood out to me? Now, I had to give it to V. Whew. It was really, really tied between V, J-Hope, and Yoongi. Okay. Oh, and Sugar. Yoongi, please don't jump me. Okay. You know what's up. In the club, we're all fam. But between those three, it was so hard to decipher between who, and who. So for that purpose alone, I had to give it a V, because when I watched that DNA music video, bro, altered my life. Okay. Changed everything in my head. Like, gorgeous. Now, of course, if we're talking Piper, Jungkook. You know why I say Jungkook. Y'all know why I say Jungkook, okay? Now, that's enough about Love Yourself, Her. We got two more to cover. Let's get into the next one. The next part of the trilogy, Love Yourself, Tear. it was a complete opposite of Love Yourself, Her. It wasn't vibrant. It was more dark, more ominous, more dramatic, a little bit more heartbroken. I love personally what they did with this trilogy here. I feel like it was beautifully played. The storyline, gorgeous, like 10. I was throwing 10s for this era. Now, Love Yourself tier featured hit songs like we got Fake Love. I love Fake Love. I literally love Fake Love. That's literally one of my songs. We got hits like Airplane Part 2. We got Magic Shop. We got Unpan Man. And we also got Singularity. That was one of my songs there, okay? Now, I think everyone looked pretty good in this era. Like, Love Yourself, this whole trilogy, everyone was looking majestic. Everyone was looking so beautiful, gorgeous, handsome, radiant, beautiful. I'm throwing 100s, okay? I'm not even throwing 10s no more, throwing 100s. Now, for this era, I would say who really stood out for Love Yourself tier, in my opinion, would be RM. Like, it was just something about him during this era that had me just like, what a gorgeous man, okay? He was eating, he was hungry, and he was literally chewing, okay? I gotta give him his 10s. He looked phenomenal, amazing. And I really think, especially Fake Love, like, that was his moment. That was his era. Like, I would have to give an honorable moment, of course, to Jungkook because he was eating for Fake Love too. He was definitely doing his big one. And of course, throwing 10s, everybody was looking so good. Like, they were denim down. I love denim. And it was very hard to pick, like, okay, who I really think was doing their 1-2 for this. But like I said, I gotta give the big diamond crown to RM. And I gotta give that honorable mention to Jungkook. Like, everybody was T this era. Everybody was T. Now, let's conclude the Love Yourself trilogy. To conclude the Love Yourself trilogy, this is when we got Love Yourself Answer. Now, this is one of the first BTS albums I purchased. And this album was, you know, it was the conclusion to all the other Love Yourselves. We got our vibrant era. We got our dark era. We also now get we get the answers. That's basically what this album was. It was about self-acceptance, growth, identity. You can tell they definitely put a lot of thought, time, and, you know, patience into this series here because it was just everything to me. Like, Love Yourself will always be one of my favorite trilogies, okay? Now, this album here gave us hit songs like we got Idol, we got Euphoria, which was featured in the show Euphoria as well when it first came out. Like, great, beautiful, great solo work also came from this album as well. Just like I said earlier on in the video, that sometimes the albums will repeat previous songs. So this answer also gave us like a good compilation of previous songs from Love Yourself, Her, and also Love Yourself tier as well. Now, remember what I said, I'll revisit Mic Drop and Go Go because I needed some information to fill in for here because this album was mostly comprised of just Idol and solo work. So using Idol, using Mic Drop, using Go Go, I have to give each individual song itself who I think worked for this concept. Now, if I'm thinking in terms of Idol, I gotta give it to Jimin, okay? Jimin hit that cunty walk with that fan in that Idol music video. And I knew from that moment on, I have to give Jimin his 10s. If I didn't give Jimin his 10s, I would feel like a hater, okay? Jimin had that fan and hit that cunty walk. Changed lives, okay? Honorable mention for Idol, I will have to give it to V. V had this sleeper bass, half pink, half blonde going on, and it had me hooked, okay? Now, Mic Drop, you know I gotta give that to J-Hope. Mic Drop was literally J-Hope's era and moment. Like, he was eating, bro, when I seen that live, you can tell that Mic Drop is J-Hope. Like, J-Hope is Mic Drop. He gives it his all. He gives it his 10s. I love J.O. for that. Now, honorable mentions, I have to give it to Ari and Sugar because they 10 out of 10. Literally, like rap line, 8. Like mic drop. First of all, everybody ate in mic drop. Mic drop, rent was due, and I could tell. But I can't give it to everybody every single time. So, of course, rap line, they did their 10s on this one, okay? Now, that concludes the Love Yourself series. Love Yourself stressed me out so bad, especially trying to figure out and decipher what songs on what, this was on this. Because, everything's a headache and a blur. But that's okay. Now, we are almost like 70% done now. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Give your girl a good thumbs up or review, comment. If you made it this far, let me know what's your favorite BTS song, okay? Let me know in the comments. Tell me your top 3. I'll check in with you. Now, let's move on to the next part. This is a Cutie Pie Pie album. And yes, I'm saying that because the album is pink. Let's talk about a cute little duo moment they had, okay? The map of the soul persona. The pink one. The Barbie album. The pink, gorgeous, beautiful color. I love this album so much because it's so cute, so girly pop to me. Now, this album was another bright, it was upbeat, energetic type of wave going on. You know, now we got hit songs like Boy with Love. We got Dionysus. We also got one of my favorites, which ironically, I just learned how to pronounce this like yesterday, which is so funny because I literally just never said it out loud and I just realized like, wait, well, I low-key don't know how to say the song. But Microcosmos. Even if I just chopped it up again, y'all let me know in the comments. If I just made a fool of myself, I don't even care at this point. But yes, a lot of upbeat, very fun. This era here was kind of like Love Yourself Her if you put the Paris filter on it and made it pink and bubbly pop. Like, okay. Now in this era, we got, of course, bold hair. We got colorful concepts. Everybody was eating so bad. We got cute fits. Now, everybody was chewing once again. And y'all, I swear I'm not doing it on purpose, okay? But for me, I really think who was eating in this concept, especially when I think of Boy with Love, I gotta give it to V. He had the Sonic the Hedgehog blue hair going on. Like, I would feel like I'm doing a disservice and I would be very dishonorable to not give him this, you know, serving award. He had his 10s and he threw them at me and I threw them right back. Okay, I gotta give him his 10s. Now, everybody looked so good in this era again. Like, everyone looked so gorgeous. Now, this is one, again, I didn't do an honorable mention for because, like I said, everybody looked good. Everybody was highlighted. Everybody looked beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, let's move on to the last version of the maps, okay? So, wrapping up the map series, we have the Map of the Soul 7. This taking place, 7 years within BTS's career, reflecting topics such as personal growth, success, pressure, all that jazz that they were dealing with. Now, this album here featured hits like On, we got Black Swan, and we also got Ugh. Everybody know this was the moment as well. And also, this album gave me one of my favorite songs ever. My Time. I listen to that song so much, you might think I wrote it. Okay, now, this one was very hard for me to think once again and be like, okay, girl, who owned this era? Who era was this? Who stood out? And I have to give it to Jin. Like, it was very sleek, very elegant. And I think Jin really popped for me, in my opinion. Like, Black Swan just gave Jin through and through and through. Now, honorable mention, I definitely give to Jimin because the contrast with his hair and like the clothing, the concept photos, all that, this and the third, literally gorgeous. I was like, Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I gotta give him his 10s for that. He looked beautiful, radiant, looked majestic, out of this world, I must say. Now, that wraps up all the maps. Now, we are moving on to our final and concluding series. Now, in November of 2020 is when BTS decided to release the album B. Now, this unfortunately, it was during the time of a global pandemic. The world was shut down. Everyone was in isolation. So, this album here reflected a lot about loneliness, finding comfort, hope, and also adapting to change. Now, like I said, the whole world was shut down. So during this time, we got tracks like, This Ease, one of my personal favorites. I love that song. Okay. And we also got Life Goes On. And also, this is during a time when they also released Dynamite, another super big global smash hit. Okay. Now, those were star tracks of this album. And, it was a global pandemic going on. So during this time, it really wasn't too much going on. Like, Life Goes On really, really reflected how life was during this time. The whole world was shut down. And hey, they were able to, release music and give us something, which they didn't necessarily, have to, but thoroughly appreciate them for doing that, okay? Very considerate on their half. Now, I would say using Dynamite here, who I thought dominated this era, bro. Y'all know I gotta give it to J-Hope. J-Hope looks so good in this era. Like, this is literally one of his top 3 eras, okay? He looks so good. The glasses, the hair, the side part, the outfit, like, he looked so good in all the concept photos, music videos, shoots, he looks amazing, okay? J-Hope looks so good that he literally blinded me for this whole era, okay? Nothing but J-Hope. My brain, J-Hope, wake up, J-Hope. That's all I'm thinking. Like, this was J-Hope's era, okay? Dynamite J-Hope, oh my goodness. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, now, I didn't really do an honorable mention because, like I said, this was really J-Hope era. Respectfully, everybody did look good. Don't get me wrong. Everybody was cute. Everybody was tea. Everybody looked their part. But J-Hope literally was like a huge gold star from like Mario floating around. Like, it's like you want that. You need that. I gotta have that. That's what J-Hope was doing for me, okay? Now, not too much to say about this era because, like I say, 2020, global shutdown, and this was really the last we've heard from BTS. Now, I'm not going to be speaking on Proof because really not much to talk about, not included in this. So, let's move on to the next and final and most recent album that they've dropped, okay? After 60 million, billion, trillion, quadrillion years, we finally got a BTS album. We've had time to start families, graduate college, graduate high school, get married, run off to Georgia, do all types of things, and BTS is back, okay? We waited for them like we said we would, and we got their newest and latest album, Arirang, okay? Now, this album here, it's like traditional. I understand what they were doing with this album, even though it received some mixed reviews. Some people say they liked it, some people say they didn't. I enjoyed the album. However, I would say it definitely had to grow on me, and going to the concert and seeing it live definitely made me be like, wait, masterpiece. I am not joking, because when it first came out, I had very mixed reviews. But hearing the live and just genuinely sitting down and taking time to like consume the media, I was like, wait, this has altered my brain in a way that I genuinely enjoy. Okay? Now, Arirang gave us songs such as like Swim, we got Hooligan, we got my favorites 2.0, and my favorite on the album, They Don't Know About Us, They Don't Know About Us. Yeah, that's my song, okay? That is my song, okay? And it also gave us Body to Body. And you know what? I'm gonna mention Into the Sun too, because that song grew on me in a way I didn't expect it to, because at first, in all honesty, it was my least favorite song on the album. I always said that. I'm a completely honest person. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like the song at first. However, that last minute of that song is the best minute I've ever heard in a while. Like, it literally almost brings me to tears, okay? Yes, it is that serious. Into the Sun almost bringing me to tears out of every BTS song. Isn't that weird? Isn't that crazy? But like, yes, I will follow you into the sun. Into the sun. Into the sun. Like, wow, that just spoke volumes for me, okay? I heard Into the Sun in one ear, came out, changed lives, changed my life. They ate that up so bad. Now, in my opinion, because like I got to really consume this era and the media of this era. So I would say, in my opinion, I think for Arirang, this era here, I gotta give it to J-Hope. Like, he has been chewing this whole tour up, okay? J-Hope has been J-Hoping in ways that J-Hope didn't even know he could J-Hope. Tongue twister. But let me tell you, from seeing this man live, watching the media, watching the different shows, watching the music videos, this is J-Hope's era, okay? And you know who else era this is too, and who I would literally give this honorable mention to? And it's literally like just second in command, Jimin. Jimin has been eating in this era, the 613. I don't care what nobody say. I love long-haired Jimin. Long-haired Jimin, beautiful. Short-haired Jimin, beautiful. Jimin is beautiful regardless of Jimin can be bald and Jimin is beautiful. But let me tell you, Jimin has been hitting so different this era for me. Like, mind you, I was never originally Jimin biased. Like, my bias in BTS is really J-Hope. I'm J-Hope biased. And I'm deeply J-Hope biased. Absolutely. However, I did not expect to be biased wrecked by Jimin the way that he biased wrecked me once I seen them live. Day 3 in Tampa. I gotta hear Pop say live. And life goes on. Flex. I didn't expect to be biased wrecked the way I did. So J-Hope and Jimin are eating and shining in this tour, okay? This was their moment, okay? And with that being said, I just ran through all the BTS album series, mini-series, whatever you want to call them. I don't care. I'm not technical. It's never that serious. Now, with that being said, and if you stuck through this long, I love you and I hope both sides of your pillow is cold at night. And with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for sticking through. Thank you so much for making it to the end. This is my first time doing a commentary video about BTS. You know, it was something first, new, different, something I've never done before. Now, if you like what you've seen and you like what you heard and you really like the vibes that we're rocking with, I believe you should, you know, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below, share with your friends, share with fellow ARMY. I am sweet, I am here, I love to talk and yap. I'm a professional yapper, which you can clearly tell. So with that being said, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking through. I hope you guys like and enjoy the video, and you know, make sure to check me out for another video. I got way more K-pop videos to talk about. Okay, trust me. So with that being said, Thank you all so much. Mwah! See you guys later. Bye-bye.
You got a 2-day trial before I take back my time and make you pay. 30-day trial before I made my mind.